Hey everybody, welcome to the high school football weekend wrap. Tom Markowski, Lauren Plant, and we might be a little bit longer for this one, but of course we're getting ready for the postseason, so we're going to talk a little bit about these teams and how they project moving forward, just at least in the first couple of rounds. But let's see how Tom did first on his predictions for Week 9, and we talked about it on the preview show. So first it was 7-1 St. Joseph versus 8-1 Portage Central. Battle for the SMAC West Division. St. Joseph gets the bell. They win it 22-6. They win through the air in an impressive fashion. You can see the highlights right here on our YouTube page. And you know, really, you had St. Joseph, or you had Portage Central taking that one.
Yeah, because Portage Central played so well during the whole season and really didn't have that many close games. I saw the highlights. St. Joe definitely went to the air. Good night to throw the ball, and they'll be in Division III now, so they might make some noise there.
Right, so what we want to do is quickly look at the path ahead for both St. Joseph and Portage Central. We'll start with Portage Central, Division II. They've got Byron Center right out of the gate at home, and they'll face the winner of Lowell, Battle Creek, Lakeview.
I think they'll get by Byron Center. They're a team that plays in the same division that Zeeland West is in, and they got blown out by Zeeland. Then they're going to play Lowell,
right?
Which I do not like their chances. I think Lowell is playing very well at this time.
And we're going to talk about them later.
Won 8 in a row, so I like Portage Central win 1 game.
All right, well, there you go. In Division III, that's where St. Joseph will be. They will have a home game against 6-3 Sturgis.
That's a slam dunk.
Right.
St. Joe's going to win that.
And then they'll take the winner of Stevensville Lakeshore and Edwardsburg, who is undefeated.
Well, that's a tough one right there. Immediately you'd say Stevensville Lakeshore because of all the experience they have in the playoffs. But that's going to be a tough road game for them. In fact, they kind of slipped a little bit this year, 6-3. Got to go with Edwardsburg in that one, but I like St. Joe's to come out of that district.
Okay, well, there you go. Cass Tech and Detroit King. This was another instant classic. You know, 2 powerhouse teams. I had the opportunity to be there for a while before the radio show on Friday night, and just, you know, watching these teams go back and forth. Cass Tech big on special teams, a couple of huge scores. King through the air really looked good. Lavert Hill took 185 reception to the house. In the end, King is king, 27-25. You like Cass.
Yes.
You thought the distractions would be too much. Ineligible players didn't hurt them like we thought maybe they would. You got it wrong, Tom.
Yes. Armani Posey's looking really good at quarterback, and even you know, I've seen him play. He did play against Cass the other time when they played each other. He's a good quarterback. Even though they had some suspensions at that position, Posey's probably their best all-around quarterback, so it really didn't hurt them that much that you might think. So, you know, King is king, and only 1 day of practice.
It's crazy.
But
a great game.
Yeah,
but a great game.
You know, you got a 2-point game, then the other one was an overtime by 3. You know, I wrote that, you know, Cass Tech, the best thing about them going in the playoffs, they don't have to play King anymore.
That's absolutely right. Although seeing it one more time would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, but we'll have to wait till next year.
We'll wait till next year. All right, let's see what their path looks like in the districts. In Division I, Cass Tech, they'll be taking on Warren Mott, who might give them a bit of a challenge.
Well, Mott, yeah, I agree they might, because of the fact that Mott plays a tough schedule during the regular season. So I don't think they're going to be intimidated by any means. In fact, I saw them, they played earlier, maybe two years ago, I think, in the districts.
You're right.
And I caught that one, and Mott stayed with them.
Yep.
And then Cass warmed down. And I think a similar situation is going to happen this year. In fact, I plan on going to that Saturday afternoon game. That's supposed to be a noon start. Talking to Wiltshire, he's not really happy with his team, even though they're, I mean, look, 2 losses to King, right? Yeah. So there's no disgrace there. He doesn't like his offensive line. He says they're not progressing as much as he had hoped. So
it's interesting you say that, because Warren Mott typically is good in the trenches.
Yes.
On the defensive line. So if he doesn't like the way his offensive line is playing, if they get by Warren Mott, they'll take on the winner of Forts and Sterling Heights Stevenson, which I'm envisioning will be Stevenson.
Yeah, I like Stevenson that one. That's a good break by Stevenson. This is not a great Fortson team, so if Stevenson gets a good break here, I think they're going to really shut down Fortson in this game. And I think that'll be a tougher game if, you know, assuming Cass, which I'm picking, get by Mott. I think Stevenson will pose a more stiffer challenge, but I still like Cass Tech.
Well, I'll tell you what, and that's good for Cass. If they have strong games in the playoffs, I think even Wilshire would admit that's what they want. They want to be tested. They want to be prepared as they move further in the tournament.
They're going to have to beat 3 MAC Red teams to get to the semifinals.
Did you just flip off the camera? Oh, okay, you had 3 there. All right. How about Division II's King? All right, they've again. I think we absolutely agree. Division II is the strongest division of the playoffs. King is going to take on a UD Jesuit team that is kind of treading new water here, being there. Even though I guess it's been about 3 years for the playoffs, but I think they'd agree this is the best team they've had in years.
Yeah.
And
they're young too.
Right, and then they take the winner of Lincoln Park Wyandotte Roosevelt. Which I don't think they would have much of a problem with.
I don't think King's going to be really that tested in the first 2 rounds. You talked about Division II.
Yeah.
Not only is it the best, but I think it's the most competitive, meaning there's more good teams in Division II than there are really in the other 7 divisions individually.
Right.
They have the strongest teams. You look at all the really good ones. Not only that, it's across the board. Muskegon, Mona Shores, Lowell. You just go down the list.
Right, and then most likely then, and I don't have the projections in front of me, the map, but I would imagine then it would be De La Salle and King in the regional. Then.
Well, now De La Salle's going to have to get by East English the first round, which you assume they would, but that's not a slam dunk. East English is pretty good, and De La Salle's lost their last 2 games. They got to find their mojo. They were one of the best. I had them 4 after when they were 6-1.
Crazy.
And boom, they lose 2 in a row.
Yeah.
And granted, it was to CC and St. Mary's. But they didn't really play
that
that well.
Was not good.
I don't know. I think
defensively,
East English is. Rod Oden's ready. Unfortunately for them, they didn't play strong teams to get here in the last 2 weeks. It's a long story. Their crossovers in PSL were terrible. They're rested. They're healthy. So watch out.
Yeah, he's always on that East English train.
Oh, I love it. Rod Oden's a great coach.
He is a great coach. All right, Ortonville Brandon at Holly. Brandon gets it done, 27-23. They get in the playoffs. This was a good game. You were there, and it was the Brandon ground game that proved to be the real difference in that game. Yeah, no doubt about it.
They do it really well.
So they're in the playoffs. They've got Linden.
They can win that game. I'm not saying they're going to, but the Flint Metro is very competitive years. A lot of times you have a top-heavy. Teams like Holly, teams like Brandon were very competitive. That could be an upset.
But then they've got Orchard Lake St. Mary's in the next game.
It's
all over. Okay, I know we're running long, but just stay with us. A couple more we just want to give you, and we were anticipating a really good matchup between Farmington Hills, Harrison, and West Bloomfield this past weekend.
We got one.
Yes.
We got it.
West Bloomfield goes undefeated, first time in school history.
They were 8-0 before.
Oh, were they once? Okay. They beat the Hawks 20-14. Our Hungry Howie's Mr. Football candidate Tristan Jackson providing the late game heroics.
He probably had his best game when you look at him, what he did overall. I talked to John Harrington today. He said they put him back in the backfield. They had him returning punts. He said they fooled us by doing that.
And he got the pick to seal it.
He's something else.
So obviously they're rolling. What you said on the Cave on Sunday was that Novi has a good chance of beating them.
I think if you look at an upset possibility, especially with that 5-4 team in Novi. But Novi started 0-3, and I was talking to some people like Matt Laddick over at Northville.
Yeah.
He thought that was like one of the best 0-3 teams around. Right. They come out of the same division in the KLA. West Bloomfield is Harrington told me, he says, Tom, they're really talented, but problem with West Bloomfield is just as it was last year, they make mistakes, they make penalties, they make turnovers. And if you do that too many times in the state playoffs, watch out. And Novi, don't look at that 5-4 record.
Right.
They're good.
Right. So if West Bloomfield should move on, they'd face the winner of Waterford Mott, Detroit Catholic Central.
That's going to be a tough game. I think Mott has a chance just because they throw the ball. And how often does Catholic Central play against a team that's going to throw the ball 30 times a game? Answer is they don't. They just don't really face teams like that. So if Mott can give protection to their quarterback Baldwin, Des Fitzpatrick can have a big game, and you never know. You can have an upset there. This is not a great CC team. It's a good CC team.
All right. Well, it's going to be an interesting district out of there, no question about it. In Division 3 for Harrison, it's competitive as well. Right. They've got to go to Groves, and Groves is undefeated.
Yeah, we still don't know how good Groves is, even though we saw a little bit, but them beating Pioneer in the last game of the regular season, that's a good sign. They're 9-0, one of their best seasons ever, and they're hosting, so that's a good thing for them too. But Harrison's defense is still outstanding. West Bloomfield being held to 20 points, that's the lowest point total all season long. Harrison's defense is going to win that game.
All right, and I know we're running long. Harrison, if they can get by Groves, then they would face most likely Walled Lake Western. How do they match up with them?
Well, Western has got to play Northern, which you assume they win, but they only won by 3 earlier in the season. So all this is close games. I like Western in that game because I think Western's got enough team speed. Well, the defense of Harrison's going to be really tested with all the different formations and players that Mike Zadebski can
All right,
go
well,
to.
quickly, we just want to mention Lowell beat Grand Rapids Christian on Friday. They win it 28-14. Lowell got it done on defense when they had to. It was a good game. Lowell, we talked about already. They've got Battle Creek Lakeview. Should get by there. They would face, then again, Portage Central, we're saying. Lowell will get on there. In Division III, Grand Rapids Christian, they will take on East Grand Rapids. They have to go to East Grand Rapids.
That's a tough one. That's a toss-up, but I got to favor East in that game playing at home.
And then East taking the winner of Cedar Springs and Zeeland East.
Got to like East Grand Rapids coming out of that.
Yeah, well, there you go. All right, well, that is the weekend wrap. We've got a lot to talk about in the preview in just a couple of days. All the games we talked about here, you can watch all of the highlights right here on the State Champs YouTube page. Check it out.